hit those goals. So do your best to remember it. I know some people were confused about the part that says log your goals, record your points. Basically, all it is to say that you got it that day. So that you, instead of saying like, oh yeah, I forgot to log today, so you go back and log for yesterday. That when you record your points, that means you got it. You logged them today. So that's what that means. Does anyone have questions about the challenge tracker before we move on? We're good. Okay, you can.
I do. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The sugar.
Oh, good.
The sugar one.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I actually was going to talk about that. So basically, all that means is if it is 15 grams of sugar or more, that's considered your treat. So if it's 15 grams or less, it's not a treat. So just kind of pay attention to that. And you got to be careful because even things like yogurt, sometimes you look at the back and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 20 grams of sugar in this yogurt. So that's where I want you guys to start paying attention to labels, ingredients, and stuff like that. So that basically is what that means. So, because I believe in moderation, that we can still have some of our favorite things, just we gotta be balanced, right? So does that answer your question, Bobby?
Yes. So you said two things. You said 15 grams of sugar or more is considered a treat, mm-hmm. or 15 grams of sugar or less. So if it's 15 grams, my G2G bar, my protein bar, is 15 grams of sugar. Is that considered a treat or no?
Technically, yes.
Okay. So yeah. It's 15 and higher.
Yes, but 15 and higher would be considered a treat. So yeah, if you're like, well, maybe I'll just have half of a G2G bar. So then, that's not really my treat. Because if you're like, well, I'd rather save my treat for like, I don't know, whatever you like, I guess. That feels like a treat to you. So
okay, that answers. Thank you.
Okay, and again, that's just to kind of help you guys establish some better habits. That's all that this is. This isn't like trying to be perfect or trying to do something crazy. That really is all that is about. So okay, so measurements. I know a couple people are confused about measurements, where to find them. So I sent you the group coaching plan, and okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm seeing if I can share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so when this is what you guys all got, this little coaching plan. So it will have all your info and everything. This is where it has your macros on there. I gave you two different ones, calorie cycling and then just regular. So right here where it says measurements, there will be a little thing that says see here, and you'll just go and mine doesn't have it, but you'll just click on it and it will take you to your measurements. And then from there, you can go in and type in your measurements. So if anyone has questions about that, let me know. Okay. And as far as measurements go, I want you to be measuring once a week. So the reason we do measurements is so we can see if there's changes. And if we're not seeing changes in measurements and weight, then that's where we have to make changes. But if you're not doing those and you're just like, you're just going off the scale or whatever, then it's hard for us to know if we have you at a good spot. So the biggest thing is for your calories, and you guys are kind of just starting out. So again, you're going to figure out where your sweet spot is. So, but how do you know if your calories, if you're at the right spot? So a couple things to watch for. We talked about this a little bit last week, but hunger wise. Like if you're in an aggressive deficit, which a lot of you wanted to be, you're gonna feel a little bit of hunger, but I don't want you to feel starving. So I want you to like pay attention to that. So oftentimes what happens is like you will be you'll be sticking to that, and then you end up getting to a point where you binge. And so then it's like all that's out the window anyways. To me, I would rather you feel like you can stick to things and be more moderate instead of feeling like you have to binge. So pay attention to some of those cues. The other thing is sometimes when you start eating more whole foods, a lot of times I hear people say like, this is so much food, like I can't eat this much food, because it's filling you up more and it's making you feel more full. So sometimes we'll need to back off a little bit if you're not able to hit those calories that I have you at. So, okay, and you guys can ask me questions at the end of this, like about macros or calories or anything like that. So, but an idea I had for this group is doing a group me, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the app, the Group Me app. So basically it's just an app, and you can ask questions on there. I can send messages and it'll go to the group, because I know email's hard, and there's so many times that I feel like, oh, I listened to this awesome podcast and I want to share it with them, but I feel like emailing you guys all the time is, I don't know. For me, I'm not super great at checking my email, like my own separate personal email. And people be like, oh yeah, I emailed you a week ago. I'm like, oh, sorry, I never saw it. So I thought that might be a better thing for us to kind of keep in contact and feel like we're a part of something. And I can remind you guys of like when our Zoom meetings are, because I know we forget, like we get busy and different things. And then so I'm going to send you guys a link today in your email for the Group Me to so you guys can sign up and be part of that. So I think that will be a really good thing. Oh, Bobby said she loves that idea. Okay. So the other thing I want to talk about today, kind of our like theme for the week, is what is your why? I think oftentimes we start something because we have like an aesthetic goal, right? You're like, I want to look a certain way, or I want to fit into my pants, or whatever it is. And that's okay. Like I think aesthetic goals are awesome. Like it's great to have a goal, something, like I want to see what I'm capable of. I am totally okay with that, and I think it's great. But I also think we have to dig a little bit deeper, and find your why. Like what really is your why? Like, why did you sign up for this? So I want you to think a little bit deeper of like, do you want to feel better in your workouts? Like, do you want to have like, do you have like a physical goal of, I want to be able to be strong enough to run a marathon. I want to have more energy. I don't want to feel so tired at the end of the day, or whatever it is. And the reason I want you guys to really think about your why is this is going to be hard. I find so often the first week or two of coaching, when I'm coaching people, they're motivated, they're excited, it's something new. And then what happens is people kind of start to fall off. It's not so fun anymore. Real life happens. You realize like, this is hard. And some days you're like, I don't actually want to do this. Why did I sign up for this? Like, and so those are the moments when we have to dig deep and say, Kate, why did I sign up for this? Like, what was going through my head when I wanted to sign up for this? And I know oftentimes, like I said, it's the aesthetic goals. We're like, oh, well, I saw this girl and she has amazing abs and I want to look like her. So, and like I said, it's okay to want to see what we're capable of, but I want you guys to really think about it. I just was meeting with one of my clients right before this, and we were talking about this a little bit. And she's lost a lot of weight. You know, and we kind of talked about, like, we were talking about her why, and she, you know, how she really had to kind of hit rock bottom a little bit of, I don't want to stay where I am. And like, I see myself, you know, weighing more and more, and I'm not able to do the things that I love to do anymore. I don't have the energy for it. I can't play with my grandkids anymore. I can't go skiing because my knees hurt, because I'm overweight, like, you know, all these things. And so for her, she has to like think of that why. So anyways, I just want you guys to think about that. I think it's so dang important. And I know for me, when I go at a goal, especially like nutrition wise, more of like, oh, I want to look a certain way, it almost seems like it backfires on me every time that I'm like, you get in a moment where it's hard, and like I said, it's gonna be, and you're like, screw it, I don't care about that anymore. In the moment, you don't care. So that's where you have to be like, you kind of have to train your brain a little bit, train your mindset of like, okay, I can eat that Snickers bar. Is it worth it? Is that Snickers bar gonna make me feel good? What's it, you know, because there's a cause and there's an effect of everything, right? So it's like, if I eat that Snickers bar, how am I gonna feel tomorrow in my workout? You know, so you have to start thinking of those things, like every time you eat, that's like an opportunity for us to fuel our bodies, or maybe not so much fuel your body. So just kind of thinking about that. Okay, so I wanted to leave some time for you guys to ask questions, because I know you probably do, and I know you probably feel like you can't ask questions, or you're nervous, but I want you to feel comfortable, because that's why you signed up for this. So get the most out of it. So like, you're here, learn from it, and take in all that you can. So if anyone has questions, go ahead, because I could keep talking all day.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, Erica?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually, on some days, I'm not hitting my calories that you gave me.
Okay.
Some days I am, and then some days I'm like 300 less than or so.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the macro percentage, and that's like right on, like mine's 30%.
Okay.
And so I just like kind of stopped, because I'm like, oh, my percentages are good, and I'm full and satisfied, whatever, for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem that I'm not necessarily always hitting the calories, but my percentages are fine?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think if you are not hungry, I don't ever want you to feel like you have to force yourself to eat. So if you like get to the end of the day and you're like, I still have 300 calories left, but you feel satisfied and you feel good, then no. And that to me is almost like indication of you might need to be a little bit lower than where you're at right now. So I would maybe take your calories and just drop them by like maybe 150 and see how that feels. So
okay,
that's kind of, and like we kind of talked about that first week, like it's kind of a guess where your macros are, and that is a really good way of knowing where you're at. Like I said, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm full, like, you know, you're here because you want to get results, and I want you to get results, and so I would drop them for right now and just see how that feels. And as far as like, your calories are most important, and then so I want you to be as close to calories as you can, and then protein is the next important, because protein, especially when you're in a calorie deficit, protein is going to help you keep your muscle mass, because we don't want to lose muscle as we are in a calorie deficit, because that could happen. So we want to keep the protein high, and it's also going to make you feel more full and satisfied. So, good question. Anyone else? Katrina, I think I just saw your message. You were saying that you've been sick for the past week. I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. So I see this happen as well. So when we're sick, it's hard. You kind of just get into survival mode, right? You're like, I don't want to eat meat, right? It's usually like, oh, that sounds disgusting. And so in that case, I would just say every day, you just do your best. Like, you just try your best to, if you're feeling okay, maybe you say like, I'm gonna have a protein shake, or if you feel like you have energy enough to track, then do, but just be mindful and try to make better choices, and that's, unfortunately you hit it the first week, but that is the prime example of hitting those bumps in the road, and that's gonna happen. Like, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram, I posted last night. It's like, people think like success is just a straight way to the top. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna start this goal and I'm gonna hit the top and I'm gonna get there. And it's not like that. It's like, it's so messy. It's like, I'm up and I'm down and I'm around, and that's actually how we get to our goals, unfortunately. But that's life, and I think we have to remember that. So instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm sick, like, crap, I haven't even done well this first week, you just have to look at it and be like, okay, I just have to take this circumstance for what it is and be like, I did my best. And like I said last week, your best is going to look different every single day, because our different circumstances are going to be thrown at you, and they're going to look different. So anyways, hope you feel better. Okay, anyone else? Erica, are you talking? You're on mute.
No, sorry. Thank you. You answered my question.
Oh, Erica
Did I actually
Sanchez.
click something?
Nicole, I'm finding that having
Thank
a protein shake in the late afternoon is helping me stay from getting hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I'm drinking the right protein shake. Do you have any recommendations other than the train and thing?
Yeah. So which one are you drinking?
So I just bought the Premier Protein.
Okay. So is that not working well for you, or?
Yeah, it is. There's just so many different kinds. I'm not sure if there's one that I should be taking over.
Honestly, I think you kind of just have to find what works for you. So like me personally, like, I can't do whey, so I have to find a plant-based protein. So I think if your stomach can handle Premier Protein or different whey, then I think you're fine. So just kind of pay attention to that, because sometimes protein can be hard on your stomach. I see that happen often. People will start tracking macros, and it's like your protein's higher, and also they're trying to eat more veggies and stuff, and sometimes that can be hard on your stomach. So you might feel like almost like kind of bloated or gassy, or so just kind of pay attention to those, and sometimes it'll kind of go away within like a week or so if it's a new thing for you. You can take like digestive enzymes with your meals if you do feel like that. So I'm super sensitive, unfortunately, but yeah, if Premier Protein works for you and you like it, then I think that's great. The Train Insane protein is nice though, because it's doesn't have the carbs in it, and it's lower calorie, and so you're kind of like, you can just get the protein in with, I think Premier Protein has like, is it like 10 carbs or something?
It's something like that. It's not too low.
Yeah. So some people just are like, well, I'd rather not use my carbs on a protein source. I'd rather save my carbs for like something good, So just something to think about as well. And another thing that's kind of makes you think about macro wise. So your guys, when you're protein, it's hard sometimes when we're like, if you have like a hamburger, for example, there's a lot of fat in a hamburger, and so people will be like, oh my gosh, my fats are going like that, you know? So if you start paying attention to your protein sources, keeping those lower fat can help you, because like, and maybe you personally would rather have that, but like for me, I'd rather have more peanut butter or more avocado than to use my fats on like hamburger, you know, or steak. So you kind of start to find what works for you there as well. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Okay, we didn't have a ton of people hop on today, so but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. This is really like your guys' first week, and like I said, you're gonna lose motivation sometimes. Like you're not gonna just be. I think we start things and we think that it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna do all the things. But I think you'll find really quick that like it's gonna be hard sometimes. Like we have jobs, we have kids, you're gonna get sick. Like one of my clients I'm working with right now, she's seriously been like a solid, just every week, just killing it, doing awesome. And of course, she got really sick and she ended up having to have like a surgery, like, and she was just felt so down and depressed and like, oh my gosh. And so now she can't work out for like a few weeks. And so, you know, unfortunately, it sucks. And we have crappy things that are going to happen or come our way. But you have to just remember, like, no, I'm doing this. And so I have to take my circumstance and do the best I can with what I'm working with. So anyways, I just want you guys to remember that. I think that is like such a big thing to remember. So, okay. Well, if no one else has any questions, I'll let you guys go because I don't want to keep you forever. But look for my email for the GroupMe link so that I'll try not to send you too much stuff, but sometimes I get excited and I'm like, oh, I want to share this, or this is an awesome recipe, or different things. And I want you guys to feel like you have that support and ideas, everything like that. So, anyone else? Okay, well, you guys message me if you have questions or need help or anything, and let's make this a great week.
Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome. We'll see you.